What is going on, everyone? It is me, the Lone Vault Wanderer, here with another Borderlands 3 video where I talk about the potential for us to be getting slightly more Borderlands 3 information at next weekend's PAX West. Now, before I get started officially, I'd like to direct you to a new YouTube channel that I've opened up called Collab Mode. There I play video games with a bunch of other YouTubers and content creators, especially those of which who are Bethesda focused. If you haven't subscribed to that channel, I'll link it in the description below. Please check it out, I'd really appreciate it. Now, I want to say at the start of this news video right now, I am not saying that we're going to be getting a Borderlands 3 announcement next week, and I'm going to try my fucking hardest to make that crystal clear in the title, because I can guarantee you someone's going to accuse me of clickbait, so I'm really going to try and tease it out. And at the start of this, I'm saying there is a potential that we'll just get some information. Not an official announcement, not a reveal, just information, and that's it. Alright? I hope we're all clear, and let's get into it. PAX West is being held next weekend in Seattle from September 1st to the 4th. And on Saturday, 2nd of September at 10:30 AM, Gearbox, the developer behind Borderlands, will be hosting an event called Inside Gearbox Main Theater Show. Now, this is not the first time that they've done this. They've done this in numerous PAX conferences in the past. So them hosting an event in and of itself is not a special thing, okay? So please be clear with that too. The event description reads as follows. This is your opportunity to get a behind-the-scenes look at Gearbox software and Gearbox publishing, along with the latest news and updates from the makers of Borderlands, Battleborn, Brothers in Arms, and more. And here's the key. We will have never-before-seen reveals, exclusives, and surprises, so don't miss out. So let's just look at the description on its own for a second. It talks about there being never-before-seen reveals, exclusives, and surprises. Although the descriptions for past PAX conferences, or panels I should say, that Gearbox has held, has had similar wording, okay? So don't say, oh my god, there's definitely going to be a reveal of Borderlands 3. I do not believe there's going to be a reveal or an announcement, okay? I strongly suspect that that's being saved for an E3. I mean, this is undoubtedly going to be one of 2K's biggest reveals next year, or biggest games next year, if not the biggest game next year. So I'm pretty confident that they're not going to be doing the official announcement at PAX West. While PAX is big, it's not usually conducive to big game announcements. It happens, it has happened, but usually it doesn't. Usually that's saved for events like E3 or even Gamescom that's come and gone. However, I still think this description reads as we're going to be getting something about Borderlands 3. It might not be an official announcement, but it might be some sort of information to confirm maybe where it's in development, maybe when we could see it, maybe some questions will be asked about the development of Borderlands 3, and Randy Pitchford might share some knowledge in that regard. I mean, he's done it before on Twitter when he said that he believes Borderlands 3 is going to be closer to Borderlands 1 than Borderlands 2, so it's not out of the question. But if even that wasn't enough for you, I wanted to say that Randy Pitchford and Gearbox has had a tendency at games conferences in the past, and in particular at different PAX conferences in the past, to share some information about Borderlands 3. It hasn't been major information, but at least it's been something, and that makes me believe that we will at least see something next week. It might be small, but it's information nevertheless. So let's go back through history, right? At PAX South in January of 2015, Gearbox announced during a panel that the studio is ready to begin work on the next Borderlands game. Randy Pitchford then announced on Twitter that they'll be recruiting for the next Borderlands game, describing it as being the big one. Then at PAX East in April of 2016, Gearbox again officially confirmed that it's going to be developing its third Borderlands game, but specifically after it finishes its work on Battleborn and its DLC, which is done, mind you, that is long gone. And Randy Pitchford also stated that obviously there's going to be another Borderlands game. And then this year, while it wasn't PAX, it was still a games conference, at GDC, Randy Pitchford presented a tech demo that was clearly running on the engine that Borderlands is based on, that being Unreal Engine 4. And there was a hint, if you have a look at the stream of that GDC panel, Randy kept dropping hints that this was actually Borderlands 3. He just never specifically said so. He was just really trying to tease us. And then finally, at E3 of this year, Randy Pitchford shared a little bit more information about Borderlands 3 during an interview with Jeff Keighley. He clarified that yes, there is going to be another Borderlands game, that the team is working on the game, and in fact, most of the team at Gearbox Software is working on the game, and he also mentioned that there will be some sort of big official announcement sometime in the future. So taken together, it's clear that Gearbox and Randy Pitchford has a tendency to release small little bits of information about the next Borderlands game throughout different games conferences like PAX. So I think it's actually likely that we might be getting something small next week at PAX West. Again, it's probably not going to be anything big, and it's probably not going to be a big announcement, but it will be something that sheds light on the development of the next Borderlands game. And I think the description of the panel just backs this up. However, I want to be playing devil's advocate against myself, because of course there's a chance that we'll get nothing about Borderlands 3. Even something really small like Randy Pitchford acknowledging its existence. That just might never come up, and why would that be? Well, I talked about how at PAX South in 2015 and at PAX East in 2016, that Gearbox talked about Borderlands 3. However, which PAX conferences since then have they talked about Borderlands 3? None of them. Not at PAX West last year, not at this year's PAX South, and not at this year's PAX East either. So that in itself might suggest that Gearbox is just done with revealing information as to Borderlands 3 at PAX conferences. That's a possibility, it really is. Or the other alternative is that Randy just didn't have anything to talk about at PAX South and at PAX East, and then save that information up for E3 of this year because he had that interview with Jeff Keighley. So the question is, at that stage, has Randy and Gearbox Software saved up any new information since that interview with Jeff Keighley at E3 to give us something else at PAX West next week? I still think there's a chance, again, because of that description. You don't say that there's going to be reveals and exclusives and surprises without there being reveals and exclusives and surprises. Does that necessarily mean it's about Borderlands? Well, no, of course not. And also bear in mind, this is not just Gearbox Software's panel, it's also Gearbox Publishing's panel. So those reveals, exclusives, and surprises might be relating to Gearbox Publishing's games. For instance, like We Happy Few, that was just announced by Gearbox Publishing to be under their branch. But of course, is there the potential for this to be about Borderlands 3? Yes, I think there is a potential. I think there is a chance that we'll get something. So anyways, Wastelanders, let me know what you think. I'd really be interested to know your thoughts on this. Which side of the argument do you fall on? And until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.